Out?
Last year.
I think last year at,
Yeah.
I forget when.
Ah, I see. Okay, I understand. Yes. Okay.
And you can get the recordings from Sonal
Yes,
Vidya.
yes,
She has
yes,
okay.
sure.
Okay, slideshow. So last time we went through like multiple kinds of marriages and all that. So yeah, just get the recordings. I think that'll be much easier. So now we are talking of Neshta Graha. Now our guru often says Nashta Graha, Nashta Graha. So instead of Neshta Graha, Nashta Graha is basically ruining you. Okay, so
But
it's a kind of like a play on words, really. In Sanskrit it means but neshta is anything which is sort of hidden, and it's in the 12th house. But you would say that why would planets in the 12th house give us the neshta graha? Why would planets in the 12th be give you marriage, bring you marriage partners? The reason is quite simple. When you are with someone, you are sharing the karmic imprints with the person, and a lot of the karmas and the gati, how you are, how you react, how finally you do things with them. And because all marriages or any long term relationship is a challenge, make no bones about it. It's nothing is a walk in the park. Do not be fooled by all the Hollywood fancy lovely pictures, because they're just images. Because marriage is hard work, no matter how good is your marriage. And the 12th house has got a lot to do with your gati, that where your feet go, your direction, you know and so the planets in there will have the biggest say in the matter, only because it will show you where you are going, where you are heading. So your partnership, literally, that's why the Navamsh D9 chart is one of the most important charts after the Rashi chart. And why would that be? Because it's showing you where your spiritual and gati is going through the agency of a relationship. And there is, you will never, nothing will challenge you. Poverty is not a challenge. You can if you're poor, you can work hard, find ways, beg, borrow, steal, whatever, and survive. But I tell you, when it comes to relationship, it is far more challenging. It will test you as like nothing else can. And this is not like, oh, only certain signs will have a problem. Like Gemini rising people will have like dosha for Venus. And so they will have challenges. No, it is not like that. Every sign will have its own challenges, and the 12th house will test you, and so will the Navam's chart, and it is not easy. And hence, there's a special chart for relationships, and which is a D9. But D9 will also give you a whole lot more than just relationships. So that is why the 12th house is really, really important to see, because ultimately where you land up, what kind of, if you have a terrible marriage partner who's pubbing it, and, who's kind of like totally immersed in all kinds, is neglecting you, it's going to be a disaster. You are not going to be happy. Or for that matter, he may not be having bad habits, but maybe he's a workaholic, and he's going to completely ignore you. And then he's going to, every time you have a problem or an emotional upheaval, he's going to throw money at you and turn you into a shopping addict. So that is also a hell of its own. I mean, it's a total hell. And you have to always remember, the natural house and the karaka for the 12th is Shani, which is lot of karma, heavy karma pending. Wherever Shani is, there it will give heavy karma. And the 12th house is the karaka for Shani is a karaka for it, which is
yeah.
straight equation, it's karma. Then the second karaka is Venus. So that's where all the bed pleasures come, and you know how you sleep, how beautiful your silk sheets are. But are you getting good restful sleep? Or do you wake up in the morning and think like, oh my God, it's impossible to wake up? You know, that means you're not rested enough. You can sleep for only 5.5, 6 hours, but be completely rested. You know, so it's also the quality of sleep. And so that's why the Venus is a karaka, and bed pleasures, of course. So that's why Venus, as a karaka of the 12th house, will have a huge say in the kind of partners. If there are no planets, then the partner, the Lord will give you the, where the Lord is going, will give you, will bring you the spouse. And then the last karaka and the ultimate karaka is Ketu. Ketu in Pisces. I mean, wow. Ketu is the moksha karaka. It's home. It's it's Mool Trikona is in Pisces. That's his office. You know, that's his ultimate aim, to get your gati, that is your movement of your feet, ultimately from the fourth house of like happiness and consciousness and early childhood and all the tribulations, transform that hell of yours in the eighth house in Scorpio, and then finally take you to the 12th house, which is the ultimate destination. Hence, Ketu is also Karaka. So what does that tell us? That, you know, so ultimately, even from the deepest, no matter how much you are in love, no matter how perfect your relationship is, ultimately you have to walk the path alone. There is no two ways about it. That is what Ketu will say. You have to detach. You know, the wife will come only, she's been, oh no, but she's been with me for like 20 years. Sure, she may have been with you for 30, 40 years. There are marriages. Look at our great blessed queen, you know, Queen, she's like 94, bless her, she's got COVID now. But she spent with Edward, you know, like 60 years or so. She got married really young. But guess what? He's passed away and she's completely deteriorated. She's got even COVID now, you know. So it's tough. You have to do it alone, you know. So that's why the Ketu is a very, very strong karaka, and his ultimate goal is for you to detach and take you on a path of spirituality. And hence the D9 is the chart of the chart of relationships. You know, it'll show all the relationships will turn up at the D9 chart. Why? Yeah. Because it will show who will influence us, who will be there for us for a short time. You know, sometimes we may have a short relationship, 2 years, 1 year. Maybe we may not even meet that person too many times in a person, but they may have a marked influence on us. And that will all show up in the 12th house, because they've given us that spiritual gati, you know, the momentum to reach our spiritual destination. So that is how we view the Neshta Graha, or the planets in the 12th house are always referred to as a Neshta Graha. Yeah. And
can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, you have done written this. Okay. So the 12th house is a very peculiar house, actually. Okay. It is the house in which the Vishnu sits. The Aditya for the 12th house is Vishnu Aditya. Okay. All I want you guys to read about the story of Sakshi Gopal. 12th house is all about faith, with whom you put faith, and that person will be the witness of your life.
Yeah.
Partners are coming from the 7th house. 12th house is giving someone who is following you throughout the life. Okay, so your wife or husband is there to witness your life. Sakshi means to witness. So 12th house is about following you, because 12th house is following your lagna. The lagna is you, and the 12th house is following you. So there are different karakas. 12th house is also the house of your sleep. 12th house is the house of your bed pleasures. 12th house is the house of your loss. 12th house is the house of going away into spiritual life also. But we have to see that what kind of 12th house we are indulging in. Shani is the basic karaka of 12th house. Here, Shani is the name that Maharishi Parashar has used for the Shani over here is Manda. Manda means to slow down. Shani over here is causing us to go to sleep. Okay, take rest. Okay, it is the loss of the Lagna. It is our loss. Then comes Venus. Venus is getting exalted there in the natural 12th house in the sign of Pisces. Venus is telling me that, okay, now this is the pleasure or this is the purity that I want you to achieve in marriage or in relationships. Then comes Ketu. Ketu is one who's coming detachment. Ketu is coming after that Venus has come and it's Ketu has broken it down. The marriage broke, the marriage went away. Now it's time for you to experience spiritual upwardment. That is why the sign Pisces has two fishes. One is facing upwards and one is facing downwards. And the planets in the 12th house play a very, very specific role in bringing to you a person with whom you want to spend your life. And that is why they are called Neshta grass. Neshta means a priest who is going to make a ceremony for the marriage. So that is the word, the Neshta is coming, the word is coming from there, from the word Neshta, a priest who's taking you to the altar of marriage. So the planets in the 12th house have a huge impact on your marriage and relationships with which you are living your life through a long period of time. It is not something to do with tribal relationships coming from the 7th house. It is to do with someone you are going to follow the rest of your life. So different planets give you different types of neshta and they give different types of bhagya, what is called destiny for the marriage. Some are good, some are bad, and some create a lot of problems over there. So we have to look through it, but what type of nishta or what planet is taking us to the altar, and so that we can do the remedy or we can do things that we can better our relationships from there. Can continue, Didi.
Yeah. So
if you have any questions, just keep popping up. Okay, if you cannot able to understand anything. Okay, so plants in the 12th house, because you will experience, you will notice that if there's a planet in the 12th house, those people associated with this planet will always come to you because it is coming and you will always like those people. There's something that is natural because 12th house also has to deal with the mind because mind was created in the 12th house.
Yeah. So the 12th house is also the house of loss or giving. So remember, marriage, anyone who says, oh, you know, marriage is, I expect this from my marriage and I expect that from my marriage, forget it. Marriage is not about like, oh, you know, I need to get this much amount and that much amount and, you know, or I need to achieve this. Marriage is all about giving. You know, it's like there is a reason why it is called the house of loss. But it is also literal. When you are in a sort of in a intimate situation with someone, there is always loss of fluids, you know, which is obviously the bed pleasures angles side of it. And so that always results in loss. And so that is why it is often referred to the house of loss, and you know, where you keep giving and giving and giving, and that is all there is. So the Arudha of the 12th house, and I will come to in a bit about what is Arudha. And for those of you who don't know how to calculate it, it's very simple. We will come to how to calculate the Arudha, okay? So, and what is Arudha? So it is also the mirror image of the 12th house, which is the Arudha, which is called the Arudha of the 12th house, which is also referred to as the Gauna Pada or the Upapada. Okay. Now that it is also now the 7th is 8th house from the 12th, thus resulting in relationships like marriage. Okay. So again, the 8th house is a house of obstructions where things kind of, you know, kind of create a problem for you and things like that. But it is from the 12th house, it is also the 8th house. So that can also, so the 7th house will behave as a kind of like an obstruction from the 12th house. So that is also another thing you have to remember, that, you know, there is always a kind of like a, the 7th house is like open war and contracts and actual where you're signing. But the real gati, the real somebody who will genuinely be there for you will be coming from the 12th house. Okay. And the 12th house is the 8th from the 5th, and it will show the longevity of your kula, lineage, family, ancestry. So that is a very, very important part, that how long, whether you will have children who will carry forward your name, or will your children not have any more children of their own. So all that will be given by the quality of it. All that will be given from the 5th house, that is 12th house will also give you that. Hence the 12th house also has associations with lineages, and the other representations of the 12th house is what you physically give. And of course, I referred to the earlier loss of body fluids, and where you give your intelligence, energies, you're basically giving and giving. So it's a bit like the sadhu. He doesn't want anything. He's renounced the world, and he's just there existing on alms and things like that. So, and he's in deep solitude. You find sadhus coming from up in the mountains, and then they come to the they turn up in the cities and all. But you can see that they have this sense of detachment from everything and everyone. Why? Because they've spent a lot of time in the 12th house, which is either an ashram or a hospital. Well, for sadhus,
meditation also. 12th house is meditation also. They have,
yeah, and
meditation.
meditative states, absolutely, like they're meditating in their cave or a very secluded little hut, up in the deep, deep mountains and forests. So all that comes under the 12th house energy, and if you have a lot of issues with the 12th house, one of the best things is charity, any form of charity for managing the 12th house, and that principle of charity holds true from any planet 12th from it. So for example, if from your Arud Lagna or from your Upapada Lagna, let's say, okay, we'll come to, like I said, we'll come to the meaning of the Upapada and how to calculate in a bit. But if you, let's say, have very key planets in the 12th from your Upapada or Arud Lagna, best is to set up a little charity. You don't have to do much, a little bit of here now and then, every now and then, and that you will find that will improve your relationship too and your prospects too. So those are some of the things, and we will come to the remedies in a bit. Okay.
So that is, we have to see with the 12th. Okay, 12th is most about giving away. So any planet that is in the 12th, you can truly donate that planet. Okay, this is one of the very good remedies. Okay, and if anybody does not have a good 12th house, the first thing that you have to check is how is the sleep quality of that person. If the sleep quality is not good, then there's definitely a problem with the 12th house.
Yeah. So now, which planets are good? Because I know Rachel just asked a question, what planets are good? What planets are, oh, I've got a Rahu in the 12th. Oh my God, oh my God. Don't panic. Actually, Rahu, Venus, and Moon do very, very well here. And there are many reasons for it, which I'm sure Akshat will proceed to tell you further. And Saturn is okay. But what I have seen is that often you attract partners who are older, little morose, little bit like kind of, they're not exactly Mary Poppins, like joyous and cheerful and all that. They will have a little bit of a kind of like a morose, like that bit of a wet blanket side to them. And maybe they are a little bit depressed, and any malefics actually barring Rahu may give you that kind of a partner, Mercury is bad. And now, why would you say Mercury is bad? Have you heard of our well, I don't want to use our Prime Minister of Britain example. It's too fraught, let's steer clear of politics. But basically, people with Mercury in the 12th, there are many reasons for it. One is Mercury is a sort of like, it's very ill at ease in relationships, okay? Very ill at ease. And remember, it is in the dying position, in the Marana Sthana, in the house of Venus and in the house of Moon, okay? The 4th house and in the seventh house. So basically, relationships is not contracts relationship. It's not his thing. It's a Nipunsaka graha. Nipunsaka literally means eunuch. You know, it's like nor male
Child,
nor
a plant.
female.
Mercury is like a
Yeah.
plant who is a child who haven't
And
developed any sexual organs actually.
yeah, and he's a prince. He's the eternal prince. You know, he wants to just be like learn and, you know, play and learn, play and learn, you know. And in fact, Mercury people or people ruled by Mercury, what they love best is learning, but provided it is fun for them. The minute it becomes like work, and if they are involved with somebody and they have to work to learn, forget it, then they will hate it. But if it is like fun and, you know, they're interested in it, it intrigues them and all that, and they can do wizard you know, kind of like clever things with it, then Mercury is like all in, you know. But when it comes to commitments in marriage, it's like a total commitment. It's totally at ease. And also, don't forget, Venus is debilitated in the sign of Virgo. So Mercury is not great. And often people will...
Yeah, people doesn't know about this thing is Mercury because they say that Mercury is a religious planet. But at the core, Mercury is a very planet, it's a very demonic planet. It's an Asur Grah. Okay.
Yeah.
People need to remember that. So what has happened when the Mercury is afflicted in the house of relationship, like in the 12th house? These persons may tend to use their money to influence women or corrupt women. That is the negative side of Mercury. Nobody knows. Okay, Mercury is a planet which is pitch black. So when Mercury is in the 12th house, okay, so the first thing that the person is very childish in a relationship or couple. They do not want. And if they got married, their focus will shift from marriage to earning a lot of money. Mercury is very fast. So they will not focus. So whenever there is a combination of Venus and Mercury in anyone's chart, we see that if the relationship part, if the Venus is strong, then the person will be much more focusing on the relationship and not on the work, because Mercury is the karak of the 10th house that we work. And if Mercury is very strong, then he's only running after money, not about relationship, not about home, not about wife or husband. That is how. So Mercury in the 12th house is not a good place. Now we have Rahu, Venus and Moon. Rahu in the 12th house can give a very, very good marriage. Perhaps that you have controlled this Rahu. The problem with the Rahu is that as soon as you get into a relationship, there will be some other guy which will you start liking. So this is the problem with Rahu, that he wants everybody. Rahu is complete bhoga in the 12th house. Coming to the Venus, Venus can give a very, very beautiful marriage. The only problem is this: Venus is like that, the essence of Venus fades away. As soon as the natural or the physical attraction goes away, the Venus in the 12th Naneshta tells, okay, now I need to change our partner. So when Venus in the 12th house, then the physical appearance and the physical attraction is very, very important. Coming from the moon. So moon is in the 12th house, something very karmic. Now you are searching for a partner who is actually with which you can sit and have your family, because you are feeling alone. But these planets initially in the 12th are good Neshtagras. Saturn is okay. Saturn is the karka of the 12th house. And whenever there is Saturn can give rise to a very good marriage, but at times it delays them. Saturn is always delayed.
Yeah.
Okay, now we coming to the part where sun, where a fire, because we don't like, the 12th house is also the house of its bed. We don't like fire, or we don't like to sit on fire actually on the bed. We don't like our bed will be burning. Sun in the 12th house is in a Marana Karka Sthana. A person who is in the sun will give that marriage. But this marriage, after the marriage, the person may be driven towards spirituality or other stuff. Okay, if sun is in the 12th house, always remember that the person, I told you that with any planet in the 12th house, that person will be attracted towards. If sun is the 12th house, a lot of politicians, a lot of political power will come to you, and you will become a lot, you will actually after marriage, you will go for a road of spiritual or higher learning and neglect your family and wife. And if you take this, then that is not a good position for the marriage. Second thing, when sun is in 12th house, and if you got into power, then you will completely destroy your family or your lineage in the father. Take the chart of Mahatma Gandhi, the sun in the 12th house. It has given him Raj Yoga, but what about his sons? No, everything has been destroyed because of that. Because the sun, that is why we say that from the 5th, it is the 8th, that the Ayu or the longevity of the coal is denoting that. Now, the worst planets are Mangal and Ketu. Ketu in the 12th house will give marriage till apart a child is born, because Ketu is telling me that, okay, the dictum of Ketu is Kulas se Unnati. Kulas Unnati means that, okay, my lineage or my family should go into future, or I should have a child to carry my name in the future. Then Ketu is in the 12th house. What is important? As soon as the child is born, Ketu said, now the work of the marriage is over. Let's finish and just take care of the baby. And Mangal in the 12th house is giving, the worst planet is actually Mangal in the 12th house. Mars in the 12th house is not good. Mars is the planet which is significance of a celibacy. Mars is excessive anger, excessive desire, excessive fighting. So when it's Mars in the 12th house, a lot of anger issues creeps in the marriage. A lot of cheating can be happen there if the Mangal is not cured over there. So if anybody who has Mars in the 12th house, it is actually going to create a lot of problem. And the only solution for this, that they need to get rid of their anger issues. Okay, they need to get rid of their anger issues. Then there's a Mars in the 12th house, because we will see that Mangal in certain houses of relationships causes something called Mangal dosha. Everybody must have known what is a Mangalik dosha. Mangal is telling that, okay, I'm going to destroy this relationship due to some of the underlying factors. It can be anger issues, it can be sexual incompatibility, it can be emotional issues, depending upon where Mangal is placed. But Mangal in the 12th house is one of the worst positions for getting married, until unless it is remedied actually. Okay, do you guys have any other doubt regarding to the 12th house plants in the 12th
And
house?
also another thing, I want to add a couple of things that, you know, Agni planets are, it is worse because they bring that energy with them through the agency of the partner. So for example, if you have Ketu in the 12th, you'll attract a partner. Maybe he's like, oh, you know, I'm very bohemian. I'm very like tune in, drop out, you know, kind of like, oh, I don't want to work. I'm kind of, you know, they'll be like sort of like a wanderer kind of an energy they will have. That's Ketu in the 12th house. And similarly, Mars, 100% Mars will attract like, you know, very strong military like temperament partners, or, you know, people who are like very strong Aries, or, you know, and there may even be violence associated with it, whether it's emotional violence or mental, you know, mental, or even even the physical violence is not ruled out if you have malefics in the 12th house. Of course, barring Rahu, you know, we are not considering for this purpose. Rahu is not really a malefic. Now,
Rahu in the 12th house only creates a problem when you start dating or when you start having multiple partners.
yeah. So then
Okay,
it will be very,
that will be a problem.
yeah.
Problem.
Now, Rahu plus Mars in the, sorry, we'll do a couple of questions since we are here. Would the planet in the 12th describe the way partner is in a relationship, or that you are? Well,
No, it is only telling you that what side of connection that you have with the someone when you got married. Okay, what experience and what type of mental connection you're having, and what type of things you're feeling. Your behavior is coming from the 7th house.
yeah.
And partner's behavior is coming from the 7th house in the Navamsha. 12th house is all about mind, what you're giving and taking with the partner, what feelings, what everything. Okay, what type of person who is standing with you is there, whether it is trustworthy or not, whether there are issues with them or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And if there's a Kuja Sthamna in the 12th house, it will lead to a problem, because Mangal, the energy of Mangal is going down. But we have to check whether it is this Kuja Sthamna is aspected by Jupiter or not. If this is not aspected by Jupiter, then there will be a problem. Whenever there is a Kuja Sthamna, we have to see, because what is happening if there's a Kuja Sthamna in the 12th house and Mangal is totally been destroyed, and suppose the spouse Lagna is either Scorpio or Aries, then the spouse will not survive, because that Mangal is going away from your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And another question, Rahu, yeah, you saw that Rahu and Mars is a good.
Yeah, we don't like malefics in the 12th house. Okay, what is happening? We need to understand. 12th house is a very, very, what is a sensitive house. It is your mind. It is actually, can you mute someone? I think there's someone is unmuted. Okay, so 12th house is your mind. Okay, 12th house is your mind. So any planets in the malefics in the 12th house deprive give some problems with the mind. In Parasha, in Vedic astrology, it is said that it is the lap of the divine mother. It is the lap of your mother. So any woman who have malefics in the 12th house, she will always have a lot of problems than men, because that is where there's a blessing of the mother is getting blocked over it. Okay, remember the 12th house is also called what is called ultimate gati, where our heart is going or where our feet are going also there. Okay. And someone has asked, what is Jupiter in the 12th house? Jupiter in the 12th house is neither good nor bad. You will get a spouse who will always try to teach you everything in life, and you will say, oh my God, what type of, he's always teaching me something or lecturing me all the other. So see, Jupiter is very spiritual, but we don't like, if you want to enjoy a married life, suppose you want to go out, have fun, and you have to live a good married life as is seen in the movies, then we don't like Jupiter in the 12th house, Ketu in the 12th house, and that is not. If you want to have enjoyment in the life with women, then Venus, Rahu, and Moon are good actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then shall we come back to the remedies in a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, one sec. Okay, now planets in the 6th house. Oh my God, how do I delete this annotation, Akshat?
I don't know who has, it's, I think you can just delete it. I think someone had done it because.
Yeah, it's, I think by mistake. How do I, sorry guys, Zoom recording. Yeah, okay.
Coming about plants in the 6th house. Now, 6th house is the house of celibacy, enemies, diseases. So why plants in the 6th house can give you marriage? The 7th house from the 6th is your 12th house. So any plant in the 6th house will have a karma distri, the 7th house distri on the 12th. So by the power of the desire, that planet can give you marriage. Okay, but this is not applicable to Mangal, because Mangal has only one pada of karma distri. That is, Mangal aspects the 7th house from it by only strength of 25%. Okay, so if there are good planets in the 6th house, like Moon is in the 6th house or Venus is in the 6th house, they can give you marriage by the virtue of desire, because what they are desiring the 12th house. Each and every planet desires the 12th house from it, and they can give it in that sense. Okay, then we'll come, because Brahma's Sthan, 6th house is the Brahma's, because Brahma's Sthan, because we are creating from this, so it can give a way to get married and for creation and everything, for children and everything. That is how we can use the 6th house also. There are different ways to activate the plants in the 6th house for marriage. We'll come to the remedies section. Okay, there are different houses that can enforce marriage. 6th house can enforce marriage because the dasha of the plant is in the 6th house, and its desire is to get you married. There's a second house that we can get you married. It's also the 5th house. Plants in the 5th house can also force you to get married because you fell in love with someone. 5th house is the house of love. This is something over and above this Vedic Synastry, but I'm telling you, since all you guys are here, so plants in the 5th house can also force you to get married. Because what is happening, it is forcing you to fall in love, and it is telling now you get married because you fell in love.
And maybe there are children involved, and so then you'll be forced to get married, so
yeah, it's children, pregnancies can, Moon is in the 5th house. Always be careful that your marriage can happen due to a pregnancy, especially in the case of women.
So maybe it's like a forced karaka kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's a forced karaka. That is why.
So, okay, let's move further. So Chandra as an Ashtraga, the 12th from the moon is also your spouse.
Yes.
It's also your spouse and marriage life. Apply the same rules of Neshtra Graha on Chandra Neshtra. So that means that, 12th from the moon, as we will see later, is also has got similar sort of connotations. And often I have found that transits, especially of Saturn or, 12th from the moon, that particular sign, it will activate your prospect for meeting someone, or you may land up like wanting to commit to somebody. And, so that is a very, very important point. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we learn about Chandra Nadi, okay, what is the Chandra Nadi? That we take moon as the Lagna and we see the whole chart. The 12th house from the moon is your home, is your wife. It also denotes your nose. So what has happened in ancient times, clever astrologers just see the nose of the person and then can predict about the marriage. If the nose is crooked or there's some some abrasions or some problems with the nose, then we'll say that this person is going to have problems in the marriage because his mental capacity is not able to adjust with some, because the 12th house from the moon is afflicted. So always look for the 12th house from the moon for your marriage, for transit. And if there's a Sarasati, that is why when Saturn is transiting the 12th house from the moon, that is the first phase of Sarasati, we always have troubles with relationship, marriage. And at that time, you may get married also, because Saturn is activating the karma from the 12th from the moon. And the 12th from the moon is to get a partner or get a wife. Okay. And people who fell in love in Sarasati are beautiful people, to my advice, because they will always need an astrologer for that, to maintain that relationship.
Yeah, true. Okay. So Venus is the natural karaka of the 2nd and the 7th house. Hence, it is a key to relationship. And then we also the 7th house concepts, we will see.
You have done this actually.
Yeah, we've done this. Okay, sorry.
You have done this slide.
Slide. Okay. Now
Yeah.
the Arud. Okay. Now, can you see this reflection here? It is absolutely, it sums it up, you know. It is literally a mirage, a reflection, and which is guaranteed to manifest. That is what is called a Arud Lagna, okay, or Arud. Every sign has an Arud. Every sign, every house, every planet has an Arud. That means it has a mirror. So if, let's say, example, you are a certain rising sign, you have like Sun in Lagna, Saturn in Lagna, you know, lots of planets in Lagna, let's say. That is your truth. That is your viveka. That's your ultimate intelligence. But what's going to manifest? Is that Sun going to manifest? Saturn and, Jupiter going to manifest if you have all those planets in the rising sign or Lagna? No, not in your lifetime. Maybe not. But you have to work towards that, because the Lagna is your Satya Pitha. Satya Pitha means it's your truth. You know, there is no greater truth than your first house Lagna. That's your ultimate intelligence. But the manifestation of your, how you are, what you appear to the world, how others see you, what you're going through, that is all a mirage. It's like a veil, you know. And the moon is a karaka ultimately for the whole Arud, you know, because it's throwing wool over your eyes. It's like a veil. So you're not, so literally you're seeing through the rose tinted glasses, but those rose tinted glasses are actually manifesting. So for example, if you're seeing something through like a scenery, through a rose tinted glasses, then through those lenses, you will actually be able to manifest things. It will actually manifest, you know. And so from that point of view, it has its own truth, because you see, without the planets, there would be no truth. Without the Lagna, there would be no truth. So in a way, it's kind of like a subset of the ultimate truth, the ultimate Satya, which is your intelligence. Yeah. So there is a slightly subtle difference. So the actual truth may or may not manifest, you know, which is your rising sign or whatever planet we are talking about. But the Arud of that will definitely guarantee to manifest. And
Yes.
hence it becomes a very, very vital point when it comes to, because human beings want, hey, show me the money. Tell me what's going on. Tell me if it will manifest. Tell me if I'm going to get married. Tell me if I'll have the ring on my finger. You know, they want concrete stuff. They don't want like wishy-washy. Oh, I've got, you know, I feel for him and, you know, we have a great soul connection. Yeah, sure, you have soul connection, but so what? You know, is it actually manifesting? You know, so
just remember one thing, what is
Yeah.
an Arun is your manifested image. Okay. Arun is your manifested image, that what public is seeing about yourself.
yeah,
What the people are saying and what people are saying, you're going to get that only. Okay, it doesn't matter you're a good person, you're a bad, if you're a very crooked person, but your Arudha Lagna or the image is very good, then everybody will perceive you as a very good. Nobody is bothered with the Satya, what the internal Satya is. So always remember the Arud, when we do talk about Arud, just for now, just remember the Arud is your manifested image that how people are perceiving you. Because Arud is created by the moon. Okay, and that is why it is an image, it is a duality on the mind of the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And moon, that is why it is manifesting, because any yoga in Vedic astrology, you should know that any yoga aspected or conjoined by moon always manifest, because moon has the power to manifest things. So that is why Arudha is always manifesting, because it has been the karaka for Arudha Lagna is moon.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move further forward. So how do we, this is just a little example I'm giving, how do we, of Meghan Markle, we all know, we are familiar with it. Simple stuff, how do we calculate the Arud Lagna? Here, her rising sign is Cancer, and she's got Sun, Mercury, and Rahu. Are all of them manifesting? Yeah, that is her truth. That is her core. She's an overthinker. Mercury is, she's very, very clever with money. She's got the blessings of the Kuber, because Mercury is in Digbal, and Sun is very strong. She's absolutely, it's her truth, it's unshakable. And the moon is in the third house. It's in the sign of Virgo, and it's in the nakshatra of Hasta. So it's a very, very beautiful, very intelligent. If the Lord of the Ascendant has gone in the third house, that's a very, very strong, intelligence at play. That's a proper yoga there going on. And it's sort of third house or sixth house. If the Lagna Lord or the Lord of the Ascendant has gone, that's the Dhimanta yoga. So that's a lot of intelligence is there. So so from her rising sign or Lagna, it is 1, 2, and 3. So that is in the third house. So the moon, the Lagna Lord, is in the third house. So you count that many houses and you will get the Arud Lagna. Okay. So from the moon, which is in Virgo, 1, you count always that sign 1, 2, and 3. And then the third house from the moon then is your Arud Lagna, which is, then we analyze the Arud Lagna, and that is, it's in the sign of Scorpio. And it is, it's in the sign of Scorpio. So that is how we calculate Arud. There is only one exception to Arud. That is, if the Arud is in any of these houses, any of these falls in any of these houses, then you have to take 10th from there. So for example, if she had moon in Cancer, then we took the moon 10th from there. Sorry, the Arud Lagna 10th from there, which is in Aries. And for example, if her moon was in the 7th house in the sign of Capricorn, then we cannot take 7 houses. Then you would say, oh, the Arud Lagna is in Cancer, it's back to Cancer. No, it is the the first house and the 7th house Arud will not be present, because remember, the Arud is an image, and Lagna and the 7th house, that's your intelligence, that's your Dhi Shakti. So that is your truth. So that is not going to work. So then we take 10th from there, which is the 4th house. Okay. So that is how we do it. Okay. Okay. Any questions so far? No. Now, another thing, the 12th house, for our purpose, we are interested in the Arud of the 12th house, because that is the biggest relationship marker. You see, so she's got Mars in the 12th house, okay? And she's got the 12th house is Mercury, that is, it's Gemini. And the Lord is in, the Lord of Gemini is Mercury. That's in her 2nd house from the treating the 12th house as her rising sign. Then it becomes the 2nd house is where her Lord of Gemini has gone, of the 12th house. And then, so it's 1 and 2 from Gemini, the Mercury, the Lord. So then we count that many houses. So from here, from this planet, that which is a Lord, we count that many houses, and that is 1 and 2. So the second house from the Lagna is her Upapada Lagna, which is the 12th house, or also called the Gauna Pada Lagna, okay, which is the 12th house, which is in the sign of Leo with Venus there. And she was married second time. So later we will work out the first marriage, second marriage, third marriage, or third relationship, whichever, how they turn up, where we have to go from the Upapada, okay? So
does everybody got to know the calculation of Upapada or not?
Yes, everyone? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that is as simple, but this factor of Upapada is going to be instrumental, because we will use this in every relationship marker. Everything will come from this Upapada, among other markers. Okay, let's move forward. So there is also another factor which is called the Darapada, which is Dara means wife, spouse, and and finances and business, and kind of like money matters, resources. That is also another meaning of Dara. And the A7 is nothing but the Arud of the 7th house. So there are two factors involved. One is the Upapada, which is the 12th house, which will bring the spouse, give the quality of the spouse and everything. And the 7th house is where you feel in love, where you want to be like, hey, enjoy, because
the nature of intimacy, actually, where you're more intimate. 7th house is being more intimate, actually. That is the Kama house. Okay. So Darapada is, they will denote all your crushes, all your emotional experiences, or all your intimate emotions that are coming from your Darapada, actually. Because when a person is coming, when there's a relationship for a short term period, even for a day, if there's been a relationship between two persons, then the Darapada is going to do it, because Darapada is not there that is going to tell you, oh, this is your partner for life. Darapada is showing your mating partner, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, meeting partner. And Darapada is also making from the Dwara, because 7th house is Dwara. So everybody that you meet in life is coming through the Darapada, and from that one person is going to become your Upapada.
Yeah. True.
Okay. So most of the people have problem because they have their Upapada and Darapada are different. So they started liking someone, they got married to someone else. Now that's creating a problem.
Yeah. Okay. So Darapada is the Aruda Pada or Aruda Lagna of the 7th house. It is denoted by A7. A7 is manifested as 7th house. So all the people we meet are through A7. So first time you drop in at a cafe and you like somebody across the table, and maybe you chat up, and so that is all A7, and all our love affairs, hookups and crushes are A7. Planet conjoined and the sign A7 is placed in is super crucial, as they denote what impression we might give, how we behave, and what others may feel when they meet us. And then A7 in signs of Venus and Jupiter are welcome, as they show a very well-mannered person and one who fits to, who knows how to fit into any occasion. They have appropriate behavior, they won't be like, trying to shock everybody when it's like somebody's funeral, they won't be like crazy like that. So that is what you need to kind of bear in mind.
You need to work on a lot of A7. It is not just about the sexuality and about your partners and love affairs. Any person who's in the field of business, this pada becomes very, very important, because from this pada you will meet everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the problem that Venus, A7 in the houses of Jupiter and Venus is a person who is very, very well mannered and fit, and he knows how to dress up for the occasion. He's very well mannered. Okay. And if A7 is a sign of what we say, the sign of Saturn or Mars, then the person becomes very, because this is how the people who are meeting, experiencing you, that is how you are experiencing, behaving in front of other people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what has happened in recent times when there are a lot of small hookups and relationships, we mostly focus on A7, but what is happening with the A7? Because for a person to become Upapada, it takes time. It takes faith. If a person is in a multiple relationship, then they are all A7. There is no Upapada there.
Yeah. Okay. Moving forward, and the Aruda of the seventh called Darapada, we went through that.
I think,
and,
yeah.
yeah, I think we did that. Okay. Why are they coming double? Oops. Yeah. While, but this is.
We have done this. I think we have done this actually.
Yeah, we
I think
have.
the
Okay.
slides have been copied twice actually.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
the calculation of the Upapada, we already went through this. Okay. We have gone through the principle, take the 12th house, the ruler, and then count that many houses. If any doubts, just refer to the slide. Otherwise, every software will give you the Upapada. Okay. So the A7, as Akshat said, it'll start the relationship, and then how it develops, it is UL that will develop over a period of time. So let's move further. Okay. Darapada activation is the only one which can save you from being the friend zone, and worship of the Adi Devta of the lord of A7 can activate it.
Yeah.
And then the activity of its lord or planet conjoin it can also do so. So, for
This is for the
example,
remedial purpose. This is for the remedial purpose. Check your A7 and see in which house, which planet is conjoined, what is the color of that house, that clothes. Then you can, if you're meeting someone, you can meet that person. That is on a bit advanced level.
yeah.
Okay.
And the Dhanapada is, Dhana
Yeah.
means
Dhanapada is actually the Aruda of the second house.
yeah.
So this is a bit advanced. Suppose if you want to get married and you want to check whether this person will actually be able to a part of, after marriage, will be a part of my family or not, whether he will consider my parents as his parents or there will be a difference among them. So what is happening, Dhanapada, second house is also the house of Kul or your lineage or your extended family. Now we check the A2, we call it A2 as Dhanapada. We check the A2. If that A2 is in Kendra or Trikona to your Aruda Lagna, then that person will accept willingly the family, extended family. If it is in Dusthana from the Aruda Lagna, then that person will not be very open to accept. So what we do in India when we are seeing a matchmaking, and suppose that the bridegrooms or the boy's mother asks whether after marriage the newly bride will be able to imbibe in a family or not, then we check the A2 whether it's, if the AL and the A2 are in Kendra or Trikona, then we say that okay, this girl or this boy can easily be a part of your family. So this is all very dynamic. You need to check everything from your Aruda Lagna. Aruda Lagna is you. If your Upapada is in sixth in Dusthana from your Aruda Lagna, then you're not treating marriage as a good. Okay. If your A7 is not in a good place from your Aruda Lagna, then you're seeking or not treating it not good, or you're not able to meet people properly, or you're not able to give full impression on people on the first meet. Okay. Yeah. Now we have to check. Though these are very important points actually, nobody's going to tell you that. Now we have to check how is the placement of Darapada from your Upapada. If UL and AL are in Kendra or in trines, then you will you have the tendency that okay, you will start loving your wife or your girlfriend or whom you love might become your life. If they are in a mismatch, then there's a problem with the attachment with the spouse. Okay,
Akshat, wait. Let's step by step. Let's take an example. You mentioned about the A2. Remember the A2, yeah. Which is the Dhanapada. Here, this is Meghan Markle's chart. And we all know about all the controversy and all the kind of, whatever side of the fence you're on, it is a drama that is being played out. She doesn't really particularly care for her in-laws at the moment. And so here you can see that her A2 is here, right? It's here. Yeah. Because the sun is, because the second house is the sun. The sun.
Just write it in annotations actually. You can just write it A2 over here.
Okay, one sec. Where is it? Yeah, annotate. Okay, so it's A2 is over here, yeah? A2 is over here. Where are the colors? Yeah, A2. Yeah, so this is A2. Okay, guys. So this is essentially, this is where her thing is. Now, A2, which is the Aruda Pada of the second house. And you said, Akshat, that from the Arud Lagna, ideally you want A2 to be in trines or in angular or Kendra houses. Okay. But, and then you will accept your in-laws quite happily. But here, first off, Mars is in her A2. That's a problem, right? Then from the Arud, A2 is in, can you see this? It's in 8th house. So she's definitely not accepting of her in-laws, right?
Yeah.
So, but her marriage, her UL is over here, and UL is in Leo. And her,
Did her first marriage break after some years?
yeah, it did. She is divorced. Yeah. So anyway, by and large, her UL and the AL is in angular to each other. So
Yeah.
she will have a okay attitude towards marriage. It won't be that bad. But of course, in the seventh house, there is K2. So she tends to detach herself quite quickly from her marriages, doesn't she?
Yeah, because that is not a first marriage. This was the first, her first relationship was a mistake. And the marriage that she did was for money. Did she marry for money, something wealthy?
Yeah.
Because what is happening, you can see that Upapada Lagna is in the second house of wealth.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is happening when this Upapada is activating, her wealth is getting increased. Now, the problem with this Upapada is that you can see that Upapada is conjoined Venus. That is a very beautiful planet. That means the spouse will be brilliant. But what is happening? The Lord of the sign is Sun. It is sitting with Rahu. So the Sun is under an eclipse. So what is happening? This Upapada is going away.
Yeah.
And for the longevity, we have to see the marriage we have to see the second house from Upapada. The second house of planet has over here, we have Saturn, we have Jupiter, and we have Moon. So what is happening? Moon and Mercury and Rahu are in exchange with each other. Yeah. So what is Rahu is coming over here, and Mangal is having an aspect on the second house from the Upapada. Full aspect by Rashi Dishti. We are seeing Rashi Dishti because it has to be permanent. So there has to be a lot of fighting. There has to be a cheating. So many things have happened because the second from the Upapada is telling me what is happening to your marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. What is happening to your marriage?
Yeah. And if you have malefics there, there's also another dictum that second from the Upapada, if you are, if you have malefics there, then you will have you'll be with a guy who's got blue color or green color eyes. That's my favorite dictum.
No, so that is the thing. And you see this, and remember, the Moon in the second from Upapada or on Upapada Lagna is not considered good, because Moon is one of the fastest planets. You're always changing your mind, or whether this will be my Upapada or this will be my Upapada. Yeah. That is a problem with Moon in the Upapada.
Okay. So let's move forward. Okay, we are, I need to clear the annotation. Sorry. Clear. Okay. Okay. So then we come to, so far, any questions, guys? Okay.
Yes. So now I'm sorry. I have a question about the way I can calculate my Upapada and A7 as well, because actually they are in the same house. Yeah. So actually Moon is in Svakshetra and Jupiter is also in Svakshetra. So how do you calculate them?
Let me know. Just what is your Lagna, Uskana?
Capricorn.
Capricorn Lagna. Okay, so Moon is in the 7th house, right?
Yes, and Jupiter is in the 12th.
In the 12th house. So it's very simple. Okay, when a Lord of the sign is in the same sign, okay, then just take the 10th house from that house. So your A7 will be in the 4th house.
Ah, okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay, because what is happening? The 1 and the 7 axis is Satyapita. Okay, the Maya, that is the image, cannot manifest in which there is too much light, the Satya. Okay, so A7 cannot be in the first house or in the seventh house. Okay, then A7 cannot be in the eighth house, in the 12th, in the second, and in the sixth, because these are shadow houses from the seventh house. Shadow, the Maya cannot manifest in a shadow. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Regarding your Upapada, then your Upapada Lagna, since Jupiter is in the own sign, then what we do, we take the 10th house from the 12th. That your Upapada Lagna is in the 9th house. Okay.
I'll see. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, let's move forward. Have we done this? Week 12th Lord, week Upapada Lord, and UL in Pisces. Go on, Akshat.
Yeah. So that is how, because we see that a person is not getting married. Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Hi,
I don't
Alice.
know what's going on with my earphones. Hang on. Okay, you're on speaker. Hi.
Hi, Allison.
Hello.
Did you just come in?
Are you home?
Just a minute.
She muted it. I think she has done.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Sorry.
So
Yeah.
there are a lot of times where people has coming to us and asked that, okay, I have been in a relationship with this person and we are not getting married. So what is happening? Marriage is always coming from the 12th house. So we have to check what are the problems in the 12th house. First, is there a malefic in the 12th house? Okay, like Saturn delaying the marriage or any other issue. Then we check if the 12th lord is strong or not. If the 12th lord is weak, then you might have a weaker Upapada, because the Upapada will manifest from the 12th and this 12th lord. Okay, then we have to see what is happening, where the Upapada is placed and what is happening with the lord. You can check the previous chart. We seen that the Upapada was in Leo and marriage broke. Why? Because the lord of the Upapada sun was conjunct Rahu. It is in an eclipse. Sun and Rahu is an eclipse yoga. So we have to check whether the lord of the Upapada is okay or not, whether strong or not, the house in which the Upapada is there, any malefics are there. And the last part, Upapada in Pisces does not manifest. The problem with being is that Pisces is sixth from Libra, that is the Mula Trikona of Venus. And so Upapada in Pisces is actually like a Gaunapada. It is you are following spiritual path, but not the married path. So anybody who has Upapada in Pisces, they need to shift the Upapada to the next in order to get married.
Yeah.
I will teach you what is shifting actually. You can actually shift. The next Upapada will be the 8th from this.
Okay. So what breaks the Upapada? When Upapada breaks, the relationship ends and it takes a toll on our emotional self. So what breaks Upapada? Malefic planets in second house from UL, or a Saturn transit on the 12th from UL or on the UL. Also, obviously, if you got a second UL. So Saturn, I would say, and we will take example in a bit. Saturn transit on the 12th house from UL, as well as Saturn transit on second from UL, is guaranteed to break. And malefic planets in the second house from UL, of course, like in Meghan Markle's case, we see that there is Saturn there from her UL. And even
Moon and Jupiter were there, but what is problem? But it was having, Moon is also having a parivartana with the change with Rahu and Mercury. So what is happening? Mars aspect Saturn. There's a whole madness about the Upapada breaking. The whole mess.
Yeah. So, okay, shall we do this one, or shall we come back to, let's take another, okay, let's do this example quickly, okay? What breaks the Upapada, okay? Now, this is Prince Charles' chart, right? As we can see here, can everybody see this? And here we have the UL in the 8th house. So can you see that, Akshat?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So the UL is in the 8th house, yeah, in Aquarius. And so I think when Saturn was in Pisces, as we will see, you know, in 1995, Camilla and okay, here in July, Camilla marries Andrew Parker Bowles. So this is in 1973. And so in 1973, Saturn was, I think, in second to the Upapada. I think, one sec, let me have a look. Where's her Upapada? It's in the 10th house in Mars and Rahu. So we are talking of 1973, and this would have been aspecting. Akshat, do you want to check?
Let me check. But her Upapada is already in a problem. Let's see, in 1973. And what was the
Yes.
month actually?
And if you see, doesn't matter the month. I think Saturn is long transit. But the main thing in July, but the main thing, guys, here is see her Upapada. It's got Mars and Rahu there, okay? So that is her first Upapada. That is her original Upapada, okay? And second from there is Moon and Mercury. So as Akshat said, Moon and Mercury, Moon is very fast moving. Venus, Moon and Mercury, all three of them are there, all three benefits, but Moon is, because it's fast moving, it will create problems. And malefics in the
Saturn isn't in Taurus. Saturn is in Taurus.
Yeah. So Mars and Rahu in Upapada in the sign of Taurus, it's going to be a problem for on many levels. A, it is malefics in Upapada, number one. So that is not welcome. Number two, it is obviously the first marriage, first Upapada will manifest, which is the Taurus one. A Saturn's transit then will come along. So she literally got married under the Saturn's transit to her Upapada, which is very problematic, as Akshat said. Didn't you say that, Akshat, a while ago?
Yeah,
Yes.
Saturn is Saturn. And I don't think so that what is happening, because her first Upapada, because there's a huge point that you guys have to remember. Whenever the Upapada is in the 10th house, then the person is changing a lot. 7th Lord in the 10th house, so Upapada in the 12th house is known as Jara Yoga, which means multiple relationships yoga.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then the second time when she did get together, I think she split with in 1995, announced that they will divorce. Now 1995-96, if I remember, it was Saturn was in Pisces, right? So Saturn in Pisces, that means it is in literally in the 11th from her Upapada, and then Saturn went into in the sign of
Saturn
Aries.
is 1995, right?
Yeah. So it
I think
went
it's in Aquarius. I've checked it.
yeah.
Okay.
But ultimately, her entire marriage, when she got together with Charles and everything, was when the Saturn was in the 12th house from her Upapada. So essentially, any transit of Saturn to the Upapada is going to bring a lot of upheaval. And especially if it is going to, like Saturn was in Aquarius.
And Aquarius aspecting the 12th from the Upapada also, right?
Yes.
It was in Aquarius.
And not just that, it is finally when she like actually kind of completely parted, then she was free to marry Charles. The Saturn went into Pisces, and it was then aspecting her original Upapada, So that is a big change factor. There is going to be a monumental change in her status from one marriage to another. Okay. Now, we will come back to when the second marriage, it's a very simple principle when the second marriage, and it's a very clear principle when the second marriage manifests and the third marriage and so on and so forth. But we will come back to that. Okay. So another thing is that Rahu and Ketu have a problem. Okay. Rahu and Ketu in the Upapada, I think with Rahu is a problem in the Upapada, but I think in terms of Ketu in the Upapada, it's actually very nice because it will bring you a spouse who's highly spiritual, who's very sacrificing. Don't you think, Akshat? What do you think?
Rare times. At times, the spouse is coming who does not listen to anybody. Ketu does not have a head.
Yeah, well, of course. But by and large, these people will be attracted to spouses who don't listen, or maybe but the spouse will be on their own spiritual, very strong spiritual journey. I've noticed that. Yeah. So that is something you have to bear in mind, because you are not just checking the sun, moon, and ascendant compatibility. You're checking also from the Arud, what is from the Upapada, what is the quality of his, maybe he's surrounded by malefics. Maybe he's got Upapada in Pisces, and then you're stuck with somebody like that who's going to be like super detached. Then you're going to run into a problem. So you have to be aware on many, many levels. And this is not an easy task. You can't just wing it. You have to go step by step. There are many, many factors in examining the Upapada, examining the Aruda Pada, as well as the A7, A2, as well as the 7th house, which we are about to come to, the sun sign, moon sign. Huh?
Yeah. We have done the 7th house. We have not done about the matching of the 7th house, right?
Yeah, exactly. So here, the 3 main ascendants or lagnas are to be considered for relating. One, we have already seen Arud Lagna for sure. The Arud Lagna is like the moon. And of course, the Upapada is the Arud of the 12th. And the Lagna sun sign is very important for resources, children. You have to match the sun. Okay. And as well as the Lagna itself, your ascendant itself, because that is the truth of yours. Okay. Now, moving on. There are a few principles when you're matching across the charts. Trines are generational and they're pleasant. 1-7 is Samasaptaka are the best. But a note of warning. Moon, let's say, Cancer and Capricorn, it is Samasaptaka. It is 1-7 axis, but it's not happy. Capricorn and Cancer is not a very happy match. Okay. It's going to run into problems a little bit, only because the moon and fundamentally they are not friends. Moon is fast moving. Saturn is completely different. Moon is emotional and covetous. Saturn is like, karmic and slow moving. Nothing will budge. He's cold,
I think we should tell them that what we are matching, the Lagna lot of both from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. We'll do that. Then they would also, 6-8 relationships are not good and need appeasing. So let's say if you have Aries Lagna and Virgo Lagna, so it's going to be a problem. But that is the first level, okay? Then the second level will be you take the lords of both of them and see where we go, okay? And that also needs to be matched, and the same principles will apply. So for example, if you have both the Lagna lords in trines, fantastic. If they're Samasaptaka, great. If they're angular, fantastic compatibility. If they're 6-8 to each other, ooh, there's a lot of karma and lot of, it's like a lot of conflict. But then under those circumstances, there is a solution. Don't get disheartened. Then you have to make the Jupiter in both the charts strong, because that is the Akash Tattva. And there is no better a binding force than a Jupiter, which pulls everybody together, and it'll keep you together. So even if one spouse or one partner goes into some sort of like a spiritual work, that will help. Then they also need to chant the worship or chant the Rudra mantras. Then the 2-8 is Dvidvasha and is one of the worst. As Venus is the setting, it's a problem, because each one will be there in the marriage. Somebody will take up the resources, somebody will keep paying the bills, it's a mess. Okay. And then the mutual 3-11 is superb. Okay,
you should take a break. Let me continue. Have some water.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this is now taking the lords. Okay, and shall we do the examples?
Yeah, we should do the examples. That will be much easier actually. So guys, what we are matching actually, we are matching a few things. We are matching the ascendants, we are matching the moon sign, we are matching the ascendant lord, we are matching the moon sign lord, and we are matching the sun sign and the seventh house. These are the different things that we match in either the chart. First, look at your lagna and look at the lagna of your spouse. If it is in Kendra or in 311, then it is very good. If it is in Trikona, then one person will try to control the other. If it is in 6, 8, and 2, 12, then that is a problem. Okay. Now, this is the first step. The second step, we match the Lagna Lord. Suppose a person is having an Aries Lagna with Mars in the 5th house in Leo, and the spouse is having a Pisces Lagna with Jupiter in Aquarius in the 12th house. Okay, so what will happen? You bring that Jupiter in your chart and see from where your Lagna Lord it is placed. If Jupiter is placed in the Kendra or in Trikona from your Mars in the 5th house, then that is a good match. Are you getting my point or not? You have to take the Lagna Lord of the other person and bring to your chart and see. And you have to do the same exercise by taking your Lagna Lord to her chart and see from where her Lagna Lord, your Lagna Lord is placed. So we have to see which is able to more understand or not. Then we do the same with the moon sign. If the Lagnas are not matching, that means that the person's intelligence is not matching. If the moons are not matching, then their social status and their social standings are not matching. If the sun or the Lord of the sun sign has to be in Kendra. If the sun is not matching, then there has a problem with the source. Then we'll say, oh, this is my money, this is your money. We are not going to share resources, and there will have a problem with progeny of children also.
Okay. Let's put this in practice, Akshat. This is Kurt Russell's chart, okay? And this is the Gemini Lagna and moon in Gemini. Okay, now you would say, oh, Gemini has got Venus dosha, oh my God, and Venus is also the Darakaraka, so it's like a double whammy, it's a problem. So ideally he shouldn't it should be a disaster, right, Akshat? I think he was married before once, before he met Goldie Hawn, but their relationship, what happened here? Sorry. Here's the chart. So this is on the right hand side is Kurt Russell. On the right hand side, on the left hand side, it is Goldie Hawn, right? Now, you would say that Goldie Hawn is she's had many marriages. I think she's had at least 2 to 3. Okay, that's number one. And she does have UL in Pisces, Akshat. Please to note.
She has got minimum 4 relationships. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely. But since they got together, Russell and Goldie Hawn, they have been together for literally, I would say, at least 30 years, if not more. They're fairly old. They've got, I think, 1 daughter between them. But the beauty about it is, look at this, okay? Both the Lagnas, she is Sagittarius Lagna, he is Gemini Lagna, okay? Now, Sagittarius Lagna, anyway, both of them have a dosha or a problem. The Badak is the problematic sign, the obstacle creator is the 7th house or the 7th lord. So anyway, the 7th is going to be a problem. So there are all odds were stacked against them. I mean, there's like everything was stacked against them, but they still have managed. And this is genuine. I don't think it is like a fake. They're just trying to put it together, because she's quite flirtatious. She's like all over the block, while he's also, and he's very quiet and very learning, very sort of like a very mature kind of a person. And yet, they have managed to really keep it going, the spark and everything. The other thing, so Gemini, Jupiter, the Samasaptaka Lagna, fantastic. Let's examine the moon signs, okay? The moon is moon is in Gemini. His moon is also in Gemini. Okay, you may well say that, oh, Gemini, what's the big deal? But let's examine the lords, because the lords of Gemini, Mercury will be in different signs. Okay, so her Mercury is in is the Atmakaraka. So the moon lord for Goldie Hawn is in the 12th house, and that is also her Atmakaraka in the sign of Scorpio, which is very powerful. She is a powerful woman. She's achieved so many films and creativity and phenomenal. And so is he, highly creative, you know. And his
I think
moon
with the
lord,
cuts, this will be the fourth actually.
sorry?
The fourth one. With cuts, it's a fourth marriage.
Yeah, possibly. That is true. And his moon lord, moon sign lord is in Pisces. Okay. So both the lords are in trines. That is beautiful, you know. So you see how both the moon lords, moon signs are they are samasaptaka, you know, in terms of like kendras to each other, that even though
Yeah, because the Lord is the same, so that is not going to create a problem.
yeah,
Because
and
both
so,
the Lords are the same actually.
yeah,
Okay.
but they are also, the lords are further in trines to each other, you know, Scorpio and Pisces. That's fantastic. Now let's move to the Lagna Lord. Her Lagna Lord, which is Jupiter, because she's Sagittarius Lagna, is in Virgo in the 10th house. Superb, you know. Even though at work she will create a lot of problems, but still, you know, it's good for him. His Lagna Lord is Mercury. That is also
take the Mercury over here. Yeah, we take the Mercury over here.
Yeah, that is also in the 10th. So that means Mercury in Pisces and Jupiter in Virgo. So literally it's Samasaptaka. Fantastic. Both the Lagna lords are angular. They are Samasaptaka. Fabulous. It's a beautiful match. Then we come to the sun signs. Okay. Now the sun signs is, his sun sign is Pisces. Okay. Her sun sign is in Scorpio. Sun is in Scorpio. Beautiful. So they are in trines, but we have to examine the lords. Both of them have got two lords. Scorpio has got Mars as well as 1 minute. Hello? Sorry. Hello, Akshat? Sorry. Oh my God, what happened there? Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, what happened?
No, some trouble with the internet. Can we take a 5 minutes break?
Yeah, 1 minute. Let's just complete this. Yeah. The sun sign, we are almost there. So the sun is, her sun sign lords has got two, Mars and Ketu. And his sun sign lord is Ketu and Jupiter. And his Jupiter is in a fixed Rashi, and it's also his Atmakaraka, which is in Aquarius. And her Mars is in, it's in the sign of Cancer. So that is going to be a problem, because 4 and 11, they are 8 and 6, Charashtaka. So, but what about the other lords? You know, his other lord, Ketu, of the sun sign lord is in, it's in Leo. And her other lord, her Mars is, Ketu, where's his, Ketu is in Sagittarius, exalted. So both the lords, Ketu especially, are in trines. You know, the Jupiter and Mars may not be in trines. They may be in a little bit of a difficult position, but the Ketus are in absolute trines. So they relate in terms of their spiritual outlook and spiritual goals, because Ketu is spiritual, you know. So that is how you can assess it. Is everybody clear on this? Is everybody getting this? That there are so many levels to calculate.
Yeah, I think we should give them a 5 minutes break, so that let him have, and we'll come for there's another method also. I'll taught them that also.
Hello, everyone. You can unmute yourself. I'm stopping the recording. Oh my God. Oh.
Okay, that's Lord. That is golden words. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary, for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. It just came to
No,
my
it's
mind.
nothing to do with.
No, it wasn't.
We got reminded that there was no recording actually. I think the host, a lot of things. Oh, it's okay. People have to be checked. So let's move. Okay, now shall we come to the Navamsha?
Yeah. So did we not record for the whole time?
No, it seems not, but I even haven't noticed that this time.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So what is lost is lost.
Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. We will, there are slides there. So, okay, so where were we? So yeah, the Manglik dosha. So if you have those houses from the moon, Akshat, what you said was, from the moon, you yourself will be the instigator of, moon with Mars, or moon in the Mars in second house from the moon. You yourself will try to be the instigator for affairs and create problems. And if it's in the seventh or the eighth, the spouse will, right?
12th from Mars from the 12th from the moon is bad actually. Mars in the 12th house is absolutely bad.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that, but anyway, yeah,
Yes, sir.
Mars in the 12th, yeah, either way. I mean, they will often have like violent situations, domestic situations.
You
Is
have to see a
Mars-
lot of anger in the relationships actually.
Yeah, and
12th house is anger.
and but also there is something to be said. If Manglik dosha, then you also have, you yourself land up with your longevity curtailed in Mars as a Manglik dosh, that is something also which is interesting about the Manglik thing,
Yeah. Remember one thing, if a person is born after sunset, then the Mangal dosha is low. During the night, the Mangal is weak. During the daytime, the Mangal is very strong. If a Mangal dosha is present and Mars is in the sign of Cancer or in Taurus, then that is not going to be a big problem. Okay, then because Mars in Taurus and Cancer is a good Mars. If Mars is exalted or in an own sign, then that is going to be a lot of problem. Okay.
And if you're born during the daytime.
Yeah, don't want to exalt. I've got so many kundlis of Libra, Lagna, Mangal exalted in the fourth. I don't know. That's a huge problem for them.
Yeah. But what if you were, let's say, Mars in some sign, and if you were born during the night, then it is not so bad. The dosha is kind of.
If it's close to the midnight, then it's not bad.
Yeah. That's
if
what
the Mangal is aspected by Jupiter also, then also the Mangal dosha can be reduced by the grace of the Guru.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So where were we? Okay. The desirous and auspicious conjunctions. Venus. Sun is considered a malefic planet. Its conjunction with Venus is actually beneficial for marriage. And a majority of stable marriages have Sun-Venus conjunction, resulting in Prajapatya Vivaha, which is the religious marriage. Venus is placed far away from the Sun in separate signs, tends to cause cold relationships and either excessive sexuality or complete abstinence. So, of course, if it is, this is across the chart, Sun-Venus conjunctions. And that is same thing can be applied even to the moon Venus. So if somebody's moon is conjoining your Venus, then it is really nice. It's bringing good fortune and the couple prospers after marriage. But we are not, of course, going to go delve into the Kuta system and all that, because that is like everybody does the Kuta, the whole Mahindra Kuta and all. That is a particular factor, and you get points for it. Either you have Mahindra Kuta or not. If your moon sign, Rashi signs are 1, I think 3 or 7 or something like that, nakshatras and all that. So then you have the Kuta, Mahindra Kuta. So if these two people get together, then you have, you prosper because you make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the Jupiter conjoining Venus is a blessing of Shiva for excellent progeny as a marriage is. So this will overcome a lot of ills. So and especially if the male's Jupiter is conjoining the female Venus, then it is absolutely fantastic, especially and more so if it is like in a benefic Rashi, like Cancer or Pisces. Yeah, in very, very nice, beautiful.
Venus in Cancer is very, very good.
Yeah. And affliction of Venus and Jupiter should be examined in D1 as well as the D9, D7, of course, for children, and D60 for the karmas and everything. Okay. So,
simple note on the conjunctions. Sun Venus conjunction, if Venus is combust, good for marriage because the rajas of the Venus is controlled.
Yeah.
Okay. Moon Venus conjunction is Annapurna or Rudra Yoga. If you can control your anger and excessive sexuality, then it's one of the best yogas to have.
Yeah.
Mars Venus conjunction, too much problems. It can lead to excessive sexuality or abuse in girl child. Always remedy, make sure the Venus is strong always.
Yeah.
Venus Mercury conjunction, you need to find a work-life balance. Work-life balance means that you are not always running for money. Also take care of your spouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Venus Jupiter conjunction, very good, no problem. Venus Saturn conjunction, bad for Saturn and bad for Venus. Always control your sexuality. When there is a conjunction with Saturn and Venus, there might be troubles with sexuality in the later age, in the Saturn age, that you might be not able to control your sexuality and there might be some problem. Venus Rahu conjunction, beware about your relationship because you might tend to follow with the wrong person. Venus Ketu conjunction, you will get shocks in the married life, so careful.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think the
Venus Ketu, Venus Rahu, Venus Saturn, Venus Mars, these are not good conjunctions at all.
yeah.
Venus Ketu conjunction, you will always have a disease related to blood. So always check your emotion. Emotional damage is actually Venus Ketu.
And in some ways, Venus Ketu is far worse than I think Venus Rahu.
Venus Rahu is a problem if you're able to control. If Venus Rahu is conjunction, all you need to do, you have to stay clear of any issues or any scandals related to relationship, something, because Venus Rahu conjunction can give rise to a scandalous relationship. And if that Venus Rahu conjunction is anyway in the Arudha Lagna or aspecting the Arudha, then the moment you enter, your image is ruined.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So these are the points that you have to remember. If Venus is sitting with Rahu, make sure that you do Durga mantra to control the Rahu, and it's called Devi Stambhana, Venus Rahu conjunction.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, where will the spouse come from? 7th house from Venus, which is a Karaka house or
We did this
Bhava.
in the last time, I think so.
Did we?
Yeah, I think, yeah, we did this.
Okay. Anyway, but it's simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this never fails to work. This always works.
But you have to check for the first thing. The first relationship is going to come from 7th from the Venus. If you are in the 16th relationship, don't come and show your chart of this not coming from the trial. You have to map each and every relationship. The first is in the 7th from the Venus. The second is in the 2nd house from Venus, and so on the list goes. So you move to the 8th house.
And the same principle applies for the the Upapada as well, right?
It's from 8th. Yeah.
Yeah, first Upapada, first marriage will come from the Upapada Lagna itself. Akshat?
Yeah, and the second will come the 8th from the first Upapada.
Yeah, but what if you have two lords of the Upapada?
Take the body planet.
Yeah, got it.
Take the body planet.
Okay, so now we are talking of some interesting and karmic combinations for Lagna, moon sign, and to an extent the sun. And I would not include sun so much, but definitely the moon Lagna, the Rashis, and the Lagnas for sure. So if you have these combinations of Leo, Capricorn, Aries, Virgo, Sagittarius, Taurus, Libra, Pisces, Gemini, Scorpio, Aquarius, Cancer, there is heavy karma. But actually the Garud Puran says, it doesn't mention the karma. It says, Prityai Bhavatve na Sanshaya. That means it is actually going to give very, very good results, you know. And Kanyai Mesha Uttama. That means it is a very, very positive thing will come out of it. Now, I realize, and we all know that Shadashtaka, because all these pairs are Shadashtaka, and they're all odd, even, right? Signs together, but they will create some kind of, discord. But through that discord, through that 6th house, 8th house interaction, because they are 6, 8 to each other, there will be something very positive, I think. That is my interpretation coming out of it, and my experience to an extent too. But it is not easy. It is not for the faint-hearted, I guarantee you. So that's why it makes it even more karmic. but there is high potential for spiritual growth, very, very high. So you have to take, so like Akshat mentioned last time, that if you are over 45, age 45 or 50, and you know you are in the Naisargika dasha of the Surya, then then you tend to be a little bit more mature, more kind of, you have much more latitude. Well, at least you should be. And then these kind of combinations will do very well, because then you have some kind of a joint spiritual purpose which kind of unites you, rather than, oh my God, the children, who's going to look after the children, and who's going to bring the do the work and the shift, and all that work stuff, all the life can get into the way. So from that point of view, I think it is a little bit heavy going. Okay. And the best remedy is to take a joint project like a mortgage, or working towards a goal, or house loans, because it's the eighth house or sixth house, or caring for an animal or a dog or a sanctuary or anything, where there is a like kind of like a joint project going on together. Okay. Okay. So we did this sun in Aries, ruler is Mars. We did this sun, moon, and the seventh lords, but I will repeat it in case it didn't get recorded. So if you have sun in Aries, the ruler is Mars. Let's say female has sun in Cancer, the ruler is moon. Then check in both the charts, the connection, moon, Mars. Remember, that is the first step. Moon, Mars. First step is sun in Cancer, Aries and Cancer. Fantastic, because they are both fundamentally angular to each other, kendra from each other. So instantly you know that it will, in terms of resources and working together and their sole purpose, they're kind of well aligned. Then the Lagna lords, the sun sign lords or Shubhapati or the moon lords also similarly you will deal with, and similarly the Lagna lords you will deal with. Then you have to see Mars and moon interaction. Are they in trines, Sharashtaka? That is the second level. The third level is the aspect of moon and Mars in both their charts. That is in individually, what is moon Mars doing? Let's say in this person who's got, the man who's got sun in Aries, the moon and Mars are opposite to each other, then he won't be able to leave this female, in the female who's got sun in Cancer. Absolutely not. And if she's got a moon Mars conjunction, then definitely even she can't leave him, and it is going to be difficult, because moon Mars aspect is like the ouch aspect, it's a little bit Rudra aspect, it'll cry, make you cry first before it'll give good results. But it is really, really, these people won't be, they'll be like glue. It'll be like the glue that holds them together. And if Shani is involved in this glue, then guaranteed, it's like the seal. It's sealed. It's like the stamp, the wax stamp, everything sealed, deal done. They cannot separate. Even if they do separate, they will probably after some time get fed up and come back together, or they may separate and then live like really good friends or whatever, whatever the combination. But it's a very, very positive one. Okay, so watch out ideally for moon Mars in both the charts, individual charts. They should be angular, sextile, or trine. Now trines, remember, they each one will then treat the other as a like a kid. One of them will play out as a parent child role. Sextile, which is a 3-11, is superb for friendship. It's like a lifelong friendship. And angular, superb too, because they can very well work together. It's like the laptops back to back, and they're like typing away and talking about ideas and what to manifest in. So this is an excellent way, and you have to see this through three fundamental things: sun, moon, and Lagna. And then you can also look at like Upapada and what is happening individually, and that is the like the part section 2 of it. Then two rulers for Scorpio. Of course, we all know that the two ruler rule, so you have to consider that as well. Sometimes one of the rulers may not be matching, then maybe the interaction is very much kind of concentrated on the other ruler. the sun and the dispositors need to be in a Kendra trine. I just went through that.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
skip it because it's being
Yeah.
already done.
Okay. Yeah.
This.
Okay.
Let's come to Navamsha.
Okay. So the Navamsha, okay, here, the Amsha, the Tithi, the last part. Okay. Yeah.
See, so Navamsha is the ninth division of your chart. Why the ninth? Because if you see the ninth house in the Navamsha, that is your Dharma Bhava. And if you take the ninth lord, make the ninth lord as your Lagna, the 11th from the ninth house is your seventh house. So what is the fruit or what is the labha that you do, you get when you follow your Dharma is you going to have a good marriage. So from Navamsha or the Parashar Navamsha or Dharamsha, we see how is your marriage destiny. So the first thing that we have to see that what is the Navamsha Lagna and what is the Amsha of Venus, in which sign Venus is placed. If Venus is placed in the signs of Jupiter, in the sign of, if it's placed in Cancer, or it is placed in his own sign, then the destiny of the marriage is quite good. If Venus is placed in this thing, what we say is in signs of Mars, in signs of Saturn, and in sign of the Sun, then there is a lot of trouble in the marriage. Okay. For those people who have Venus in Scorpio Navamsha, Scorpio is an insect sign. It's a Kita Rashi. They will always have a toxic relationship because any planet in Scorpio in Navamsha gets filled up with poison, and this will be very hard for you to swallow that poison in the relationship. That's the second thing. If Venus is in Capricorn Navamsha, it is in the sign of Capricorn, then you will see Capricorn is the graveyard and you will see the death of Venus in Capricorn. And if Venus is in Kumbha Navamsha, that is Aquarius, then you will see what is happening, that it is given to you, you will suffer and it will be taken away because it is having a lot of problem. And what about if now, these are the three worst signs in the Navamsha to have planets: Scorpio, Capricorn, and Aquarius. If you have any planets, these rules will apply over there. Now, the second thing that we have seen, if Venus is placed in what we say in Leo, then what is happening? Leo, the sun is very punishing. If Venus is placed in Simhamsa or in sun sign in Navamsha, in the Leo sign, okay, so you will feel punished in a relationship. And what has happened if Venus is sitting in Aries? If Venus is sitting in Aries in Navamsha, then there will be a lot of anger issues among you and your spouse. So, because Navamsha is your destiny. What Venus as a Karaka of the seventh house is giving in your destiny, we can see it from the Navamsha position of the Venus. What is the remedy? For Venus is in Scorpio, worship Nilkant Mahadev. Venus in Makara, Narayan, and Venus in Kumbha is Durga and Narayan. For Mesha and for Simba, simple Lakshmi mantra will do. Is everybody clear? Does anybody have Venus and Scorpio over here in Navamsha?
Could you repeat those, please?
Venus, what do you want me to repeat, Surendraji? The remedies?
Yeah, you said if it is in Vrishchika, Makara, Kumbha.
Nilkanta Mahadev. Nilkanta. Nilkant is the form of Shiva that removes poison. In Makara, Makara is the Samshan, Saturn is dirt. We worship Narayan to pure ourselves. Okay. And in Kumbha, it is a Devi mantra.
Okay.
Venus in Gemini is in Navamsha is not bad actually. Okay. Venus in Gemini, it's okay. There's too much of Rajas. The person is, it's okay. Venus in Aries and in Leo Navamsha, make sure that the Venus is strong because there's too much of heat in it. Yeah. Okay. If Venus is in Taurus, if Venus is in Libra, if Venus is in Sagittarius, if Venus is in Pisces, then that is a good Venus. Venus in Pisces, it's a good Venus, but not good for marriage. The remedy is to offer a flower to your deity because it is one of the calls, it's called Pushpa Amsha also. The Pushpa Amsha Venus is a very good Venus. Pushpa means flower. Now let's do the seventh, and then I'll tell what are the cautions that we taken in the second and eighth and the sixth and seventh house. You're going to do the Navamsha, Didi?
Hang on. This one?
Yeah, let's talk with the seventh house only. What is the seventh house in the Navamsha?
Okay.
I'll do. This is the in-laws.
Yeah. So essentially, yeah, okay, let me just see. Yeah, okay. this is a chart of Prince Harry. Okay, now this is just a little comparison. Okay, because I put up the example chart because it's easy. And that is Meghan Markle's husband. You know, now if you see that this is the Navamsh chart, and the worst thing is like the Navamsha Lagna shows you who it represents you, while the seventh house represents the spouse, okay, the other. So if you have Sun in the seventh house in the Navamsha Lagna, then seventh house from Navamsha Lagna, then it is very nice that the spouse is very positive, very sort of, he'll take you on a good path and things like that, you know. That's a
And
very,
she will
very
live
strong.
longer.
Huh?
Those persons who have Sun in the seventh house, their spouse will live longer than themselves.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, and that too. But if you have Sun in the Navamsha Lagna, then it is you who is very much, you know, solid. But you can also rectify the chart by, because people who have very strong Sun in Lagna, Navamsha Lagna, they will have like thinning of hair, and you know, they will be going bald a little bit and all that. So that is just a little snippet, you know.
That is, that is,
Yeah.
we deal
Yeah.
with the Navamsha.
Yeah. So so that is one thing. Then it also represents your maternal great mother-in-law. Now the mother-in-law is fourth from the seventh. So if the spouse is the seventh house, you know, and if you have malefics there, then your experience, you will have to experience this lifetime that kind of suffering. Okay, guaranteed you will have that kind of suffering. But if the, let's say the planet is in Digbala, like our man's chart, Prince Harry, he's got Rahu and Saturn in Navamsha Lagna, seventh house. So Rahu is a foreign person. Saturn has got also Digbala, and she's quite Saturnian. So would you say this is a correct chart, Navamsha? I would think so, you know. I don't know. I would imagine
Who
so.
started this? Can
Prince
we know
Harry.
someone's chart? I don't know his personal life.
Okay. Well,
You live in UK. I don't live in UK. Actually, I live in India.
yeah, but Prince Harry, everybody knows Meghan Markle.
We
And
should do Narendra Modi's chart.
okay,
Everybody.
fine. But he's not even married, Narendra Modi, you know. But
He was
anyway,
married in that.
anyway, the seventh, we'll do the Prince Charles and Camilla's chart. We'll put that up. So if you have from the seventh house, the seventh house is a spouse, and from there, you know, that is seen as the first marriage, and the eighth house or the eighth lord in the Navamsha Lagna is what will guaranteed to break your marriage. Guaranteed. Don't take this lightly, because it will break your marriage. And whatever is there will, you know, wherever, let's say you're in the Navamsha, your eighth lord has gone in the seventh house, it will create massive problems. If you have like a Saturn transit over there or something like that, or a dasha or an antardasha, gone. That marriage is gone. And similarly, that let's say that if you have your eighth lord has gone, let's say in the third house, for example, then your father-in-law will be the reason for all the troubles. Absolutely. He will be like he will suck your life out of you. But if you have a beautiful Jupiter there, and it is not the eighth lord, then that is beautiful. You know, your father-in-law will be very learned. He'll be maybe a counselor or a great professor or somebody very wise, maybe even a priest, or, you know, but he will be very, very positive for you. So that is how you count, how you look at it. Okay. And I don't want to get into the stepfather-in-law and all that. This is from the parampara coming. Yeah. Go on, Akshat.
It's a simple point that we have to remember, that the first marriage in the Navamsha is seen from the seventh house.
Yeah.
If there are planets in the seventh house, that planet will have a prominence impact on your spouse, because you can see that if Saturn is the seventh house in the Navamsha, then you will see that the spouse might be older to you. She might be a little bit, her health might be good. She might be emotionally cold, or she might be very lean, or not, may lose weight. So the planets in the 7th house. Make the 7th house of the Navamsha as the Lagna of your spouse, and you'll be able to see everything. Okay. If you have a malefic in the 7th house in Navamsha Lagna, and this is a remedy, what can be the remedy? If your spouse have that planet very strong or exalted in her chart, that negative of the planet, the spouse will take away. That is the power of the spouse. If you have malefics in the 7th, the spouse has the power to take away that if that planet, provide that planet is very strong and positive in her chart. Okay, now the 8th house is a very, very dangerous house in Navamsha. 8th house is the breakage of marriage. If the 7th lord or 8th lord is in any way connected, the first marriage will not work at all. Nobody can save it because Navamsha is the destiny. You have to go to the second marriage that is coming from the 2nd house. Any planet in the 8th house, their dasha or their antardasha can break the marriage. If you have any planet in the 8th house, that planet is telling that you have a past life debt of the planet and you have to pay in this life, because whatever there is Navamsha, you will see in this life. And until and unless you pay that debt of the planet in the 8th house in Navamsha, you're not going to have a happy life. Okay. Now coming to some points that we have to check. Malefics in the 2nd. Yeah.
Can I disturb? Sorry, I just
Yeah,
wanted to check. Strangely, in terms of an Aries Lagna and in terms of a Libra Lagna, the 8th house becomes the same lord.
Yeah, so they will always have problems. This is the dictum in Parashar that was taught to my Guruji. Persons who have Aries Lagna or Navamsha Lagna or Libra Lagna in Navamsha, they'll always have problems in marriage because they're always changing spouse. They're running here and there. Okay, so the problem is because the 7th Lagna Lord and the 7th, 8th Lord is the same. So their energy, their mind is thinking of, when they are thinking of the 8th house, always breaking the relationships. So they need, the only remedy for them is to make sure that they sit down, do a Tulsi Viva, okay, what is called Kunva, and settle down with the person.
Right.
Okay, so now there are certain things. The 2nd house in the Navamsha is your second marriage. If you have malefics in the 2nd house, then definitely they will break the first marriage because they will give you someone else. If in a girl's chart, there are malefic like Rahu, or Surya, Mars in the 2nd house, that girl have a high probability that she might undergo some sexual abuse. The only remedy in this case is Gayatri Mantra. And if Ketu is associated in the 2nd house, then Ketu will protect that. Ketu always protects in terms of sexuality, not even Jupiter. Remember this thing. Okay. Does everybody is clear about Navamsha, the 7th house?
Yeah. Okay. So any questions?
Any questions about Navamsha? The first thing that you guys have to do is to correct your Navamsha Lagna. Okay.
Yeah,
for that, you have to do another webinar.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. Actually, today I have learned one thing.
Yeah.
If, for instance, you have to type in latitude and longitude by hand, yeah, just it gives different results, even if the difference is 1 degree or 1 minute, and the Navamsha changes. In different software programs, it shows different Navamsha.
Because that is why the first thing that we do is we check, we correct the Navamsha. With years of practice, you will be able to look at the person and correct the Navamsha. Okay, you just have to look.
I mean, here, for example, right, Prince Harry's chart, right? His father-in-law, it could be, I mean, there are two ways. One is, I don't know about the ways Princess Diana gave birth to him, whether she had a difficult delivery on the...
Is it father-in-law very controlling?
He's like a complete loser.
His father-in-law?
They are estranged. She herself is estranged from her own father. Listen, this is Meghan Markle's chart. The father did not come for the royal wedding, right? And this is her Navamsh chart. And this is her mother-in-law. This is
father-in-law.
Huh?
Her father-in-law did not come.
Not her father-in-law, Akshar.
Yeah.
Her mother-in-law is a problem.
Okay.
And for him, it's the father-in-law. That is Meghan's father.
Okay, okay.
You know?
Okay, because what is happening in this chart, the mother, the Navamsha, you can see that Saturn is debilitated. Okay, with Jupiter, and there is a parivartana between Jupiter and Mars. So what is the whole Mangal energy is coming over. So the mother-in-law is changing to something like Yama Yoga. Okay.
Yeah. So that is true, because Meghan's mother-in-law is, what do you call? I mean, she's not there, because Prince Harry's Princess Diana passed away. But so that means that only the grandmother is there, which is if you look at, hang on, if we look at the chart here, so we are talking of the mother-in-law, or rather the not stepmother-in-law, great mother-in-law. How would you see that here? Grandmother-in-law, maternal grandmother-in-law. That is what you are seeing, because for her, the maternal grandmother is like a royal figure, right? And that is in the sign of Cancer. So it's for her, it's coming here. And that is also her, very strong, because the moon is the Lord and it's involved in a Siddhi yoga. So with the Jupiter, that's a Gajakeshri yoga. That is fantastic. But after a while, it's converting to a Yama yoga.
Yeah.
So you see, there is a big problem there. You see, her attitude towards the whole family, especially the matriarchal in-laws, is a problematic. It's fraught with problems because of this Yama thing happening.
Okay. There's a question. What did you say about Mars in the second house and Rahu in Navamsha? Because what is happening? There are certain houses. See, if you have malefics in the second house, and you have malefics in the 8th house, that means that is a dushta maran. That means a bad death for the first house, or first marriage is breaking badly. If you have malefics in the 6th and malefic yogas in the 12th, then you are actually, your life is can end badly. Okay. And the second house is something that is actually what is trying. Second house is very it can turn to be a very malefic house in Navamsha, because this is a house that is trying to take away your purity from you. Okay, it is because what is happening, second house in Navamsha is just like the 10th house, which is 4th, which is Marak to the 4th house in the Rashi. So second malefics in the second house in girls' chart may lead to them to abuse, because these planets are trying to take away the purity of the girl. Okay, so be very careful if you see a malefic yogas in the second house with someone actually. And so you need to give them, so that the power of the sun to protect them. Otherwise, they might have been physically abused. The chances are very high. You have to see in the Rashi. So second house in the Navamsha is not a good house. If the 7th is in the second house in the Navamsha, then you're going to marry someone who's already been married or into a long relationship with someone else. That is the marriage that you're going to marry someone with a divorcee or someone who was 7th Lord in the second house connection. So you will learn about all these things in the Navamsha. Just focus on the 7th house right now. From the 7th house is the starting. The second marriage will be the 8th from where, that is the second house. The third marriage will be 9th house. Fourth marriage will be from the 4th house. That is how we see the Navamsha and the number of marriage. Till 12 marriages we can see from the Navamsha. Then comes the planet, and then comes the nakshatra 108. So we can see up to a lot of marriages. I think more than 108 marriages we can see in Navamsha.
Yeah. Right. Okay, let's move further ahead. Timing of marriage. Let's complete this and then we are done. Okay. Last thing, guys. Otherwise, the dasha of 7th Lord of Navamsh, or any planet aspecting the 7th Lord of Navamsh. Fantastic. So 7th Lord is a key player, Antardasha or dasha of planets in trines to 7th house. So it's a big, kind of, it's quite flexible. And Sudarshan dasha from Surya in Navamsha, having a drishti on the 7th house or its Lord in Navamsh. Narayan dasha associated with Ketu, Venus or Upapada Lagna, that is a UL, and D7 dasha, that is for giving a child, that is
Saptamsha.
Saptamsha. I think that we will have to do another, that comes under divisional charts beyond the scope. So the marriage will happen as child has to be born, and the dasha of the planet in the 7th from Karakamsha, which is a promise to past life, in a past life to a spouse. Okay, so let's examine quickly. Here we are back to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. So here, Prince Harry, I think they got married. Can everybody see this? This is all reduced. It's not fitting in properly. Okay, here. Can everybody see this? Yeah, I've taken it out from
Yes,
from,
yes, that's
yeah.
fine.
Okay, so they got married in May 2018 or May 2000, yeah, May 2018, I think so. Or is it 17? Anyway, he was in Pisces Dasha, okay, Narayan Dasha, and Pisces is his the fourth house, which is also associated with his Venus. Okay, so of course he had to get married. That is one
It's
factor.
a love marriage, I think so. Whenever marriage,
for love
whenever
marriage.
there's a point to it in when the Narayan Dasha of Venus, asteroid Venus, it's a love marriage. Okay,
Yeah.
Venus is always giving a love marriage. Oh, this is a very advanced dictum actually. It is not in Parashar. It's from Gemini.
Okay.
Narayan Dasha.
Okay. And the other thing is, we said Dasha of planets in trines to the seventh house, that is advanced in trines.
Advance is enter has been advance is another one.
Yeah, so that is but this is the Dasha of in trines to the seventh house. So the Dasha is his seventh house in Navamsh is Pisces, and he was in the Narayan Dasha of Pisces. Okay, so that fits in beautifully. So any of these Antardasha of Pisces or any of the Antardasha, let's say if he would have been Gemini or Virgo, that would also give him marriage for sure. Okay.
And can we check the Vimshotri also? Vimshotri will also.
Vimshotri is right here, Akshar. It
It's
was
very simple.
Rahu. No, I'll tell you. Vimshotri was Rahu Ketu. Akshat.
Yeah.
Rahu Dasha and Ketu Antardasha was
you can see that in the Navamsha, the Rahu Ketu are in Parivartana from the 7th and the Lagna.
Yeah, in the Navamsha Lagna, right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you see there is a big many boxes are being ticked here in terms of the dasha system, various dashas in the 7th house in Navamsha and all that. And similarly, if we go back to her chart, Meghan Markle, her Narayan Dasha, let me see if we can, I've enlarged it here. Okay. 2017 May, Sagittarius and
Capricorn or Sagittarius, something like that.
Yeah. So the
Capricorn.
Antardasha, yeah. So here, 2017 Sagittarius Capricorn, right? And her 7th house is Capricorn. And I'm assuming this is her chart, Vargottama Lagna, which makes sense because she's quite willful. And the Vimshutri was in 2017.
Jupiter Saturn?
Yeah, Jupiter Saturn. And her Saturn is in the 10th house, absolutely superb. And in a Parivartana with Mars, it is the Lord of the 7th house in Navamsh. I mean, of course,
Saturn is aspecting his own house.
Yeah, Saturn is aspecting by Graha Drishti its own sign. Yeah. So you see, there has to be some things that need to work very, very well. Okay.
See, if you get your Navamsha Lagna correct, the things that are given about the timing of marriage, you can never go back, never go bad about it. Okay, it's perfect until unless there is a serious affliction to Venus or some marriage problems and the marriage is not happening because Venus or 7th Lord are not functioning or the Upapadala. If everything is right and there are no problems with getting into marriage, this timing will always work. The three things that if you mix the dasha with the transit and everything, you will got pinpoint timings on each and everything when the person will get married, when he will get affair, when he will lose, when he'll lose his virginity. Everything you can point it from Navamsha.
Okay. Now the Navamsha breakage of marriage, dasha of the planet in the 8th house or Lord, definitely dasha. We covered that. Dasha of planets in trine to 8th house in Navamsh. So that means a dasha or antardasha in trine to the 8th house, which is kind of quite broad. So there are many opportunities for breakage. And malefic planets in the 2nd house of Navamsh, which we covered. See, the trouble with the 2nd house in Navamsh is it's about character. Malefics in the 2nd house in Navamsha will give you slightly turbulent emotional history, some kind of abuse, some kind of upheaval. So the character itself becomes highly questionable. So you're more prone to breaking free.
Yeah.
You
If
know?
the sun and the Gayatri is very strong, then this will not happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Then malefics in second house of Navamsha can cause serious. We went through that. Okay. Now this is my favorite. The transit. Saturn is a karma activation and Jupiter is a fruits of good karma. So definitely the transit 12th from the moon will bring you marriage. Okay. 12th from the moon sign.
7th house in Navamsha.
And 7th house from Navamsha, 12th house even from the Navamsha moon. You know, if you're having, let's say you're about to enter a Sade Sati, because you also see a Sade Sati from the Navamsha. And if you see that you are about to enter the Sade Sati in the Navamsha moon, from the Navamsha moon, then maybe it will also bring you a relationship, okay? Because the karma is ripe and everything is getting activated.
Yeah. True love only happens in Sadasati. Remember this. If you fell in love and it's not, you're not running your Sadasati or conjunction or any bad transit of Saturn, then it's not true love.
True. So, okay. So, and Jupiter is the fruits of good karma, which is great. So now the Tithi, now the final and the most, we will say, Agni,
Tithi is the relationship between sun and moon when the day you're born. It's like the mother and the father has to come together to create you. So the relation between the mother and the father, that is the sun and the moon, is the Tithi. And this Tithi is your connection on the Bhuloka. This Tithi will connect to you. You will connect through this Tithi to everybody. And the best thing is that your relationships, how are you experiencing, what are your emotions are experienced by Tithi. If the Tithi Lord is ill placed from the 7th house, Tithi Lord is in the curse, or the Tithi Lord is in fire signs or associated with malefic planets, then there's a lot of suffering in the marriage. Okay, you need to learn about Panchanga. What is Panchanga, in which you have to check your Tithi. Everybody are born on a different Tithi. Okay, based on the Lord of the Tithi, you will see that how the Lord is placed in your chart. You will be able to get an idea about the overall connection or relationship status of that person. Okay, if the Tithi Lord is badly placed from the 7th Lord, if the 7th Lord, suppose the 7th Lord is sitting in the 4th house and Tithi Lord is sitting in the 9th house, from the 7th it is in the 6th house, then that is not a good position for the Tithi Lord. Okay, if the Tithi Lord is placed in Kendra or in the 8th house, now that is not good. In Kendra, it means that you are too emotional. In an 8th house, what is happening? You are experiencing some Rudra, or you're crying in your relationship. If a Tithi Lord is conjoined malefics, malefics means Saturn, Rahu are bad, and words is Mars, Ketu, and Sun. Tithi is Jala, water, and any influence of fire on it gives you suffering and burning in your relationship. Third thing is Tithi dosha. There are different Tithis with different doshas like Krishna Chaturdashi, Amavasya, and Shukla Pratipad. If you're born during these Tithis, then you are having a problem with something called Tithi dosha, and the prescribed remedy has to be done. Tithi var Gandhanta. This is one of the serious problems in which there are absolutely no remedies. If you're born on if your day Lord and the Tithi Lord is the same, then guarantee the relationships are not going to work. Nobody knows this, and there's a certain remedy, a very serious remedy has to be done, because what is happening, the planet that is supposed to act like a water has to act as a fire also, because Varish is all Agni. Okay, now for these persons, the moment they enter into a relationship, either they lose their health, they lose their finance, or they have problems with the relationship. Okay, so this is a very, very bad condition if a person is having a Tithi var Gandhanta. People who have Tithi var Gandhanta, suppose a person is born on Shukla Pratipada. Okay, Shukla Pratipad, that is the Lord, the Sun, and he's born on Sunday. So the Tithi Lord and the Vara Lord is the same, that is Sun. The relationships are going to suffer a lot. And
except unless the Sun is exalted, you know, and it's very well placed. That's number one.
That is what Agni is going to, and they will always have the fear, danger to life on Sunday, because most probably they are the death is going to happen on. So this is very advanced. When the Tithi var Gandhanta, it's actually, it destroys the Akash Tattva in the chart.
Yeah. But and also I think, but there are some exceptions for Tithi Vara Gandhanta. So for example, if you have like exalted Venus and you're born on a Friday and you're born under Chaturdashi, or Shashti, then at least your Venus, if it's well placed and exalted, then the Pisces is a very auspicious sign. So you can do remedies and Vishnu remedies to overcome this, and it's not going to be that bad, because remember, any planet which is in exaltation behaves like Vishnu. So that is something quite important. Okay, let's move forward. Getting married, and that's it, we are done. Remedies to maintain marriage. Okay, so if you see that you have Upapada fasting, that is wherever, but there is a caveat to the Upapada fasting. That is, let's say your Upapada is in Leo. So who's the Lord of Leo? The Sun. So every week on a Sunday, you do the Upapada fasting. That's number one remedy. There is also a second remedy for getting married. The second remedy is, this will also work for getting married, by the way, the Upapada fasting. The second remedy is, I have heard it, that you fast on certain number of Mondays, some 20 Mondays, or God knows how many Mondays, Akshat. Do you know about that remedy?
That is 16 Mondays. That
Yes.
is only a simple remedy. But Upapada fasting is actually very good.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that will work for both getting married as well as maintaining the marriage.
There's a question. If the Upapada Lord is the second Lord, then don't fast on the Lord of the second house. Okay.
In the Rashi or the Navamsh? Rashi or the
Rashi, in the Rashi. Suppose someone is Cancer Lagna and Upapada is in Leo. Then he cannot fast on Sundays, because Sunday is the second, Sun is the second Lord also. You have to eat on the day of your second Lord, otherwise your health and your wealth will go away. Yeah. Okay. Then if there are planets in the Upapada, if they're malefic, then Vishnu Dwadakshari mantra will help them. Simple. Okay. Yeah. You can worship you can do the Vishnu mantra. Suppose if the Sun is, if the Upapada is in Leo, you are fasting on Sunday, you can simply do the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Ramchandra, the Dwadakshari mantra for the Vishnu avatar of the Sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tithi fasting, so whatever Tithi you are born under, you can fast on the Lord of that Tithi. Is that what you're talking about, the Tithi fasting?
Yeah, Tithi fasting, your Tithi, on which Tithi you are born actually. Okay, if you born on something like a Tithi dosha from Chaturdashi Amavasya, then it has to be Chaturdashi Amavasya Ekadashi fasting. People who are born on Ekadashi also have a problem because the Mangal problem. Tithi is the Tithi that you are born. Tithi fasting is a tougher fasting than Upapada. Upapada fasting is much easier fasting.
Yeah. And then finally, the seaside break. Oh yeah, examine both AL, UL, and A7 and what is happening. And seaside break, that's my little remedy. If you have relationship issues, often going on a resort or a seaside, or even living a little bit, having a small, just hire something and go and live there, that may save. Because remember, exaltation of Venus is Pisces, and it is also Jupiter's sign, so Jupiter will bind the relationship together. And so you are increasing the Akash Tattva, and that will be very, very beneficial. Okay. Okay.
I think we have to do remedies for getting married also. We got that also.
Yeah, I think, check for Tithi Dosha, Malefics in the 7th, Rudra Mantra, Mahamrutyunjay Mantra will also work very, very well. Yeah. Male 4th house, keep it clear, clean, and female 10th house, and Neshta Graha remedies. Okay.
Neshta Graha remedies, that if there's a malefic in the 12th house, then you have to do the Rishi Mantra. Okay, and if the benefic is in the 12th house, then you have to do a Vishnu Dwadakshari mantra.
Right. I don't want to go into sound compatibility, though I did put it like, for example, if a boy is born with name, let's say Kartik. Okay, let's say, for example, a boy is called Kartik and the girl is called, Nandana, okay, or Megha, let's say, for example. So you can see that these letters, whatever name yours starts with, it is Akash Tattva. And here it is Kartik begins with the Vayu Tattva, right? So that is very positive. It is Mars and Mega is Saturn. So there may be some issues, to do with.
Akash Tattva is actually, Akash Tattva is very, very, very compatible to all the tattvas.
Yeah. So from her point, so yeah, so they will get on along fine. But supposing, let's say somebody's name is like, Falgun. Okay. And Falgun,
No,
I
the
can't-
Falguni, actually, we have to see, say, someone's the name is on the Agni Tattva, and the girl's name is in this Gauri, in this thing, actually, what's Bhanuvati, take it Bha as a Jala Tattva.
Yeah, Jala Tattva. Then it is
Then
a
that is the
super
true
Gandanta. Then it is a
Gandanta.
real problem. Yeah, Akshat?
Yeah.
A massive problem. So you
It is
have to
said
be.
that if the name letter of the girl and the boy in the same tattva is present, that is a good marriage. But my practical experience, they fight a lot. If the Nama tattva of both the girl and the boy is the same,
Yeah,
they will fight a lot.
So ideally, you want the boy's name maybe a Vayu, and if you are Agni, then it should start in Vayu or Akash. Or if you are Prithvi, then it
Then
should be
Jala.
Jala or Akash. That is all right, but Prithvi with Agni, ooh, tough. And Prithvi with Vayu, no. And Agni, worst is Agni and Jala. My God. Or Agni in Vayu, very bad.
Agni and Vayu will be okay because Vayu will hate the Agni. Okay. But Vayu and Jala will be bad, very bad.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant Jala and Vayu or Jala and Agni. That is really bad, Yeah. Vayu and Agni are friends. They will get on, Okay. So anybody, anything?
Actually, it's been a very long session.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up.
That's why I stopped the recording actually.
Yeah. Characteristics of this is going beyond the bondage and all that. So anyway, there we go. We end with the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I think it would go back to the question I had.